Contenders. It's the heart and soul of our sport.
Where all our heroes start on their path to greatness.
What is Contenders about, you might ask?
It's about these little shining moments
where these players strive to become who they're truly meant to be.
They get better, better, and better.
Twisted Minds, currently ahead of everybody.
Whisper showing why they're number one.
That is a huge shift of momentum. Oh my God, Squid.
What on earth? How did Saints even manage to bring that one back?
Genuinely one of the best Pharahs in the entire world.
It all stems from this moment right here.
No way, Quandop!
I love this when the fight is dire, when they must make a play.
Nothing short of magnificent.
LH Cloudy, two-man self-destruct. I never thought I'd see that in my life.
Oh my God, this meta's great. There's so much diversity.
They're not going down without fights. A big throw! The Lucio hits the ground! Another sound barrier finally lands from Kellex. The Blizzard out. It's bought 3 kills from Twisted Minds. EXO are definitely contesting. Just wrestle control of the map. Nobody's feeling safe.
The best storylines that we have in Contenders are these teams that come in and they surprise as things go on.
For us, weeks and weeks of play have led to this moment.
But for these players,
It's more than that.
It's everything they are and everything they want to be.
The Overwatch Contenders Spring Series playoffs continue right now.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Contenders playoffs. Myself, Dustin, joined by Moxie today. And Moxie, we're in the grand finals day, obviously championship Saturday here today. And, you know, I'm incredibly excited for these first 2 matchups because obviously we have to see the culmination of everything ending up in the lower brackets, obviously with Oblivione and Triple Esports coming up. That's the very first match of the day. And the second one, obviously, is going to be that grand finals between Twisted Minds and whoever is the victor of Oblivione and Triple Esports.
yeah, and no matter who makes it through this first match, it is going to be a grudge rematch for those grand finals, as we can have a look at the bracket and see how exactly we have ended up at this stage. Twisted Minds, dominant performance in regular season, going entirely undefeated, moving into playoffs, continuing to remain entirely undefeated, dropping a couple more maps here and there, yes, but still retaining that 100% win rate. And as a result, they have knocked both Triple and EXO down to the lower bracket, so that those teams now find themselves exactly where they are. Last Chance Saloon, one team's going to take the L and go out of the tournament entirely, the other is going to get to go forward and finally take the rematch that they've been waiting for.
Yeah, and it's incredibly expected, I suppose, result because we have a lot of the top 4 teams. I guess what was unexpected was, dropping down to Triple Esports in a 3-0 fashion, considering, you know, they were the 2nd seed leading into these playoffs. To go down 0-3 to Triple Esports, obviously to myself and you, Moxie, I mean, this is always a discussion with these Pharah teams, which we have 2 of them that are towards the end with Twisted Minds and Triple Esports. It's always a discussion, you know, are these teams actually that much better, or is it just a matter of confusing the opponent with the Pharah composition and really taking them out that way, in which just couldn't adjust yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, that is going to be something that Oblivione are going to be faced with, and we can have a look at the roster to see exactly how they're going to be trying to deal with it. The big surprise for me is that we're not going to be seeing Cookie starting out for EXO this time. Instead, it is going to be Psycho. The last time that EXO and Triple went toe-to-toe, EXO did come out on top. It was a 3-1, and a lot of it was actually down to the fact that Cookie was able to flex onto the Soldier, that traditional hit scan, and keep Turkey, who was playing the Pharah and Echo for Triple back then, not Yazan, in check. But maybe they're seeing the lineup, they're seeing, okay, Yazan's most likely going to be starting off, and they want to field Psycho in his place.
That's very interesting for sure. That's one of the adjustments of all time. I mean, don't Psycho and WMAMON have a very similar hero pool, right? It seems kind of interesting, at least from my perspective. But, you know, on the other side, you're right. In Triple Esports' lineup, there is going to be a Pharah player known as Yazan in the composition, and obviously he's played the Echo. He could play other things as well. You know, a lot of people say this guy deserves a shout at Overwatch League for good reason. I think he's one of the most talented Pharah players in the game, if not the most. It's up for debate for a lot of people. But besides that, he has an incredibly talented lineup around him with Mo, One, and Anj. This backline is phenomenal. Definitely one of the best backlines we have in EMEA. And then Mo, the tank, really does a lot of the dirty work for that team to play the diva to make sure this team creates a lot of space. And Legendary, obviously. Yesterday, you talked about him a lot, Moxie. I mean, this guy's an amazing player.
Yeah, he popped off yesterday. Honestly, that was the best we've seen Legendary play all season. Getting some absolute zany hacks, being able to cancel nano blades to really stop win conditions to be able to come through. It's going to be such an interesting matchup between these two teams. Vestella as well is actually one of those players that you definitely want to keep an eye on for the side of EXO, because he's most likely going to be on the diva, right? We know that Yazan's going to be trying to field towards the Pharah, but if he does feel threatened by it, he can flex onto the Echo. He's known for the Pharah, but his Echo is definitely up there as well as just being one of the best aerial fighters. His movement is insane. But we can take a look at how this match is going to start. It is traditionally going to start on Control, and it feels like tradition as well by now that we see these Pharah teams immediately push us towards Antarctic Peninsula the second that they can. We've sort of moved away from Lijiang being the stomping grounds of these teams, and they've decided that Antarctic Peninsula is going to be their new home ground.
I'm still undecided on this map, Moxie. What do you think of it so far? I mean, Antarctic Peninsula, obviously new in Overwatch 2, one of the newest maps. It is the newest map, right? So it's really a map that has kind of, like you said, become that main pick for a lot of these teams. Like, why do you think that is? Is it just a matter of this map being, you know, so new that a lot of teams aren't as practiced on it, and so a lot of these teams think that they have a little bit more experience over other teams and can actually, you know, have that advantage? What's the reason that we see so much Antarctic Peninsula as that first map? I
think it's just composition-wise, right? For both of these teams, it kind of has the win conditions and the map geography set out the way that both of these teams want to take advantage of. The Pharmacy teams or Echo teams, you're going to have Icebreaker, where you have those ginormous skyboxes, as well as the fact that there are so many punishing chokes. So once a team loses control of that point and have to trudge their way from respawn all the way back onto point, they're going to potentially be falling prey on rotations. It's really easy as well to be able to check where Traces and Sombras are going to be, because you're going to be able to control those channels with something like Diva spy checking, the way that we saw Triple yesterday, with Legendary actually able to spot out Sombras before EMPs were able to come through for love. And unfortunately, that meant that you had to reset and allowed Yazan so much more time to continue that poke phase. And on the other side, for EXO, they're going to be feeling pretty confident about this map too, because of how large the map is. So if they want to go for those longer sight lines playing towards the side of the point rather than on it, they're going to have a really good angle to try to take his arm down as he boosts into the fight.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, both teams definitely have their advantages here. And, you know, that is another thing that we could talk about, too, with Oblivione really subbing in Psycho at the moment, right? I mean, I don't really fully understand. Do you understand why they're subbing in Psycho and WMAMO against Triple Esports, who are running potentially that Pharah at points, really just focusing on having Legendary also just popping off on either the Ashe or that Sombra? What's the reasoning behind having Psycho win versus a Pharah team when you would assume a hit scan like Cookie would be totally fine against them, right? Like, what's the reasoning here?
I think a lot of it is curveball factor, right? Like you said, we're surprised about it. I guarantee you Triple are going to be surprised about it, because, like you said, Psycho and Memo do have a relatively similar hero pool, but Psycho has actually been known to field towards something like a Genji. And even though they didn't find the same amount of value that they were looking for it, or yesterday when they actually subbed Necros in onto King's Row, we're actually able to keep that Pharah in check a lot of the time with Nano Blade. So having that potential niche pick that you can turn to, and not really relying on your hit scan, who can get shut down by your diva just diving into their face and defense matrixing, so none of the hits actually go through and hit that Pharah, is definitely something that's going to give Triple Esports a little bit more pause to thought about what composition they want to start with, as opposed to what composition they're going to finish with.
I like how you brought up yesterday, Moxie, because obviously I think that matchup was a 3-0 for, you know, Triple over but I think that a lot of people, if you missed that match, go back and watch it. I mean, it was super funny to watch, or super fun and funny at points, to see Chasm on the Wrecking Ball and Necros on the Genji try to take out that Pharah of Yazan, and they just simply could not. At points, it looked good, and that's why you should watch that game back, because it was super interesting and fun. But obviously, it was a 3-0 for Triple. They just looked like the better team, better mechanically as players as well, dealing with a lot of that chaos that All Yeah likes to play on, because Triple Esports, you know, they made All Yeah kind of play into their play style. That's the big thing about Triple Esports. That's why they've been so successful in the postseason, because generally it feels like, Moxie, Triple Esports kind of really just force teams to play around them, right? They make people play differently, and that's why, obviously, like you said, they got Psycho in the lineup for Oblivione, and they try to mix things up, because, as you know, Mox, you can't just go head on to this Pharah comp and try to play, you know, your typical Sojourn. You got to mix it up. You got to try something. But because you're doing that, right? I mean, you're already playing into the advantage of Triple Esports.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is as well, because we're now so far into the season, these teams have played each other already. So if you have Cookie in the roster, not only is there so much tape on how Cookie positions, when Cookie likes to ult, when he's going to go for those off angles, whether or not he's going to field onto the soldier or the Sojourn, that's a mouthful for sure. There is a lot of evidence.
Soldier.
So if you're VOD reviewing, if you're looking through those matches, you're going to very quickly get a read on the tempo that he likes to play into. Make sure that you can always be making the first move, which is another thing that Triple really thrive off of, right? They're a very aggressive team. They do not wait for you to be settled into a position where you're going to be safe from Yazan. He is so good with his movement, his concussives. He goes from inside really small buildings where you think there's no way he's going to be able to break out, and suddenly you just blink, you see a concussive, and there are 3 people lying dead in the kill feed. So I think having Cookie just sit on the sub bench for now, especially since you've already shown your hand on that potential soldier pick, is definitely the mind games coming into play for this team.
It's so interesting too, Moxie, because I'm glad you brought up the soldier pick, because it does feel like the meta has kind of come full circle. You know, I think that at the beginning people assumed that there was, you know, one composition was the meta, but really, you know, during the round robin, it felt like a lot of teams were just experimenting. There was a lot of different compositions that we saw, and now towards the end, it does feel like we're kind of playing the Sojourn Ramacha rush a lot of the times, and then when Triple Esports comes in, they're going to play the Pharah. Everything's kind of predictable, or you would think was predictable, until Psycho got subbed in today. But, you know, like that Soldier 76 could get popped out. That was like, what was it, 1 week of Soldier 76, and then he was immediately gone. Teams were like, okay, maybe not anymore. We're going to stick away from that. But, you know, generally against the Pharah, it's not a bad decision necessarily, just like playing really any hit scan. It's just a matter of what's like the strongest against Pharah in particular, and a lot of these teams have a hard time deciding that, which is why I guess we're seeing Psycho today. But I'm so interested to see what this guy picks, Moxie.
I mean, it might just be the Tracer. Here's another thing. For Oblivione, they can have Maimon go onto that Sombra, Psycho can play the Tracer, and they can play this dive. What I'm concerned about is that we've seen teams on this map in particular try and play the Sombra Tracer, and because I have nothing to deal with this Pharah, it just gets such free run of the space. And if Kanale is coming out on this sand, this is the glass cannon. You're going to have that orb of discord. You're going to be doing 25% extra damage to anyone who has it on their head, but you are so vulnerable to that drop down 2-tap from Yazan.
Yeah, both teams going out of spawn here, you know, either side. Looks like the Fairy, like you said, Yazan playing in the game, and then also Mamone on that Sombra, with Psycho on the left side. So obviously want to go for more of those very aggressive dives in this back line. Kanale as well onto the Zenyatta, like you said, just trying to throw up the Orb of Discords, while Triple Esports have kind of zoned out the entire point there. They have Yazan already above. Oblivione trying to reclaim some space by sending him up the high ground, and also diving with Psycho towards that backline with the Brigitte. But like we said, there's a Torbjorn, by the way, in the lobby with Yazan onto that with the Torb turret on the backside of the point as well to try to peel off for that dive. And Yazan's already found Crispy, drop down from above, and then also finds the Baby Diva after Legendary remove Pistola's mech, though. Psycho has found Mo out of Baby Diva form, so that is very good pick for them. However, you know, we have Anj in the lobby. The Resurrect immediately comes through. Also, Triple Esports have rotated around this point and captured it first.
Yeah, again, we can see this adaptation coming through from Triple. They've got one on the Brigitte, not the Ana, so they're anticipating this double-handed dive to come through from Maimon and Psycho, and as a result, EXO are just not getting any time to set it up. By the time they're in position, Legendary's Torb turret has already chipped them down so low that one damage-boosted rocket from Yazan is enough to take them down.
Yeah, EMP almost up. Mo get hacked on that left side. Oh my god, almost gets that full track onto Yazan, but unfortunately cannot. Now Psycho building up towards that pulse bomb as well. He's going to try to set up these flanks, but that Torbjorn really has been shutting him down so far. The rotation all the way around towards the point. Oblivione does have a lot of that space. Also EMP from WMaimon from down below, but unfortunately Yazan's a bit too high in the sky to capture in the air. But unfortunately for them, they actually don't get a lot of the space either because they have claimed it. Though Psycho has found Yazan on that left side. Anj immediately there with the resurrect. Though Mo lost mech. Now has to run around a Baby Diva form, attempt not to die. Psycho has built up that post bomb. Yazan does have the barrage ready to go, but Pistola has found one on the low ground who just built that rally, which really would have helped them sustain in this fight as the Oblivione have rotated as a unit and actually claimed that point.
So now should be able to be in relatively good standing to be able to barrage coming through from Triple. Since they're running one defensively on that Brigitte to field off Maimon and Psycho, they don't actually have the nano boost for the damage reduction. So this barrage should be taken out middle.
They rotate around now to the left side. They do have that rally. Maybe they could give some of that armor to Yazan or some of that healing to the Yazan body. Psycho! What a pulse bomb onto that left flank. As soon as Triple Esports attempted to walk in, Psycho was there with the pulse bomb to stop that push.
This is going to be Triple Esports now having to head back to the drawing board. Again, not having that nano boost, which has been the main tool of instigation for this team, is really giving them cause for concern of getting Yazan back in the fight.
Saving the Diva bomb ready to go. Crispy as well with that ultimate as well, the amplification matrix. But Triple Esports are the team with the ultimate advantage until WMaimon builds that EMP. Amplification matrix used early from Crispy as well to zone the point. Legendary tossed into Torbjorn ultimate towards that backline. Pistola's there onto one as the EMP came out from WMaimon. Yazan has traded Canale, but it's far too late for them. Yazan's going to have to reset, wait for his team. Oblivione are now in the lead.
Yazan still hasn't been able to use this barrage either. That is how good a job EXO are doing at making sure this barrage just does not get to play, does not get to actually use those concussives to drop down, whether it's just that positioning as well, playing around these roofs so that the Farah doesn't have the freedom, that skybox to be able to lurk into the backline, or just being able to play around Vistol's defense matrix. They've been doing such a good job of checking Yazan's position when the Farah is ready to ult.
Ultimate's ready to go. Triple Esports, they pop the rally first. Yazan gets hacked out of the air by WMaimon, but he immediately gets those thrusters back into the sky as Yazan attempts to take some space here. Pistola's the one, just delaying this point contest. 95, 96%. Another hack comes through onto Yazan, but it seems like he has too hard of a pocket at the moment from the Valkyrie up on. Mo also drops the Diva Bomb to zone the backline. Legendary has won that Tracer duel against Psycho with the Brigitte of one. Yazan get a lot of pressure on him again, but the point was reclaimed. Oblivione, they're going to try to wait for Psycho to come back.
Yeah, self-destruct cleared EXO off and allowed that flip to come through from Triple. Now they're essentially using Pulse Bomb and Barrage to hold this point hostage, but EXO do have that EMP, and they've got Transcendence. If they want to play defensive, and here's the Barrage. Canale tries to for Transcendence, but it's too late to save Crispy. However, with the burst heal, they've been able to turn it around on Triple.
Yeah, that was in a very aggressive push. Immediately, Oblivione was ready for it. Are surely going to claim this point as well. Now you just have Legendary back in the fight, but, he doesn't have recall anymore. He gets chased down by Psycho, and Oblivione take round number one.
Yeah, EXO identifying very quickly, even when they've lost Crispy on that Baptiste, they still have the Transcendence healing, and that's pumping up so much sustainability in comparison to Triple Esports, who have a Mercy and a Brig. Brilliant for survivability against that Tracer Sombra dive, but when push comes to shove and you suddenly have to go heal for heal, you just don't have any leg to stand on, as EXO are able to take Labs. And we're going to see ourselves going to another Farah-favored map. Icebreaker is going to be coming up, and here's where Psycho's flexibility comes into play. Not only does he have niche Genji picks, he can also flip towards the Echo.
All right, we'll see if that works out for them. Obviously, Oblivione, mixing things up, and it's working for them so far, Moxie. It seems like they're kind of countering Yazan at the moment.
I wonder if we're going to see Yazan swap as well. In the past, when we've seen Echo versus Farah, the Echo has had an advantage of being able to just catch that Mercy, because you can use that beam to track down even when the Mercy's using Guardian Angel. Still catches her within range and takes her down, leaving that Farah without a pocket.
A ton of pressure onto him at the moment as... look at Canale already in an aggressive position, tries to play the pillar side to avoid Legendary, who is playing phenomenal so far, looking for Crispy now, but no kill just yet. Crispy going down all the way to 1 HP, but the heals are there from Canale. Meanwhile, Yazan, you called it earlier, Psycho takes him out of the sky with the tracking, and unfortunately, they don't find the opening pick for Triple Esports. They try to peel off to get that resurrect, but Anj goes down doing so. Mo also loses the mech, so they committed so many resources in just getting that resurrect off, but it's going to cost Mo his life as well. He's in Baby Diva form, gets anti-grenaded from Kaneo, who is on the Ana doing a phenomenal job building that Nana boost. Meanwhile, Psycho with the 3K in that fight. Great work from the entirety of Oblivione.
Yeah, there's the swap. Yazan now having to go on to the Echo so that that beam can cut through the defense matrix, because that's the reason why Crispy got to live. When Legendary went after the Mercy, Bestola actually intercepts with defense matrix and matrixes all of the damage. As a result, Crispy gets to sustain the entirety of the team, as opposed to Triple, who have their Mercy hacks out early.
Ongoing Coastal does have that Mercy pocket. Tracer of Legendary also contesting the point, but Psycho just looking for that duel in the sky. He wants the smoke. He's fighting. He's on in the sky, but the Mercy pocket is there, and all of the rest of Triple Esports also come back for the peel, leaving Legendary alone on this point to have to fight pretty much the entirety of Oblivione. Now Oblivione are the ones to go on the aggressive front. They already go into Triple Esports, force them back into the spawn. Anj trying to avoid a lot of this damage. Oblivione knowing they can't go that far, have now rotated back to the point. One has built that Kitsune Lunch. They are as a unit together yet again after Legendary comes back, so they can actually get back into the fight. Psycho does lose that copy Diva form. EMP from W. Maymon connects on a Triple Esports. Yazan as he attempted to go aggressive. Legendary though connects with the pulse bomb. Anj is there with the resurrect double. Diva bomb on the field. No death from them yet either though. Legendary still on the low ground, helping Yazan out, gives him that kill onto Psycho, and 63% on the board has now been given to Oblivione, but Triple Esports have won that fight. Attempt to regroup towards the objective and actually claim it.
I mean, Exo are just going to fast swing back into this. Triple Esports spent 4 out of 5 ultimates. They've only got a duplication to try and rely on, and Exo, by taking this fight quickly, don't have to worry about poke face. In that rotation, they're already there. They're already knocking on the door.
And they've rotated around the objective. Zon goes for that fight again with the Sky Echo, and immediately gets tracked down by Psycho. Nice work from him so far. Legendary also building towards that pulse one, trying to harass Kaneo, but the peel is there from Pistola. And immediately a Rika test comes through for Oblivione. W. Maymon also found Anj. Mo comes through for the stall attempt to delay, but unfortunately, he's going to lose his life on this point, as well as Oblivione are going to reclaim it.
And Triple Esports now are playing, yes, they've got ultimates, they've got the duplication, they've got the pulse bomb. They're playing into a nano boost, which you can use to be able to save the squishy that the pulse bomb lands on, unless it's Kaneo. But they've also got EMP, and Triple Esports have no choice but to walk into it, because EXO are hitting into 81% of this point. This is final fight territory.
Oh! And Yazan clutches through as well, finds Psycho on the opening, but immediately resurrect as well. Legendary goes for the pulse bomb, but it's eaten by Pistola. Mo, though, did trace down Crispy in that back line to give Triple Esports a fantastic retest, but the EMP, then a Diva Bomb from Pistola. Do they get the kills from it? Pistola actually gets the copy of Yazan, and then Psycho tracks down Mo, who was using his own Diva Bomb after he lost mech. Meanwhile, Kaneo also finds Anj, and Oblivione are going to do it here and now on map number 1. Nobody else could touch. That's a 2-0 on Antarctic Peninsula to give Oblivione that map number 1.
Oh, there's been some adaptations for both of these teams. Triple Esports were anticipating that Sombra Tracer 2-pronged dive attack to come into their backline. The fact that they ran that Tourbillon and the Brigida, it just meant that they didn't have to sustain. All Exo needed on Labs was to win one fight, and then suddenly Yazan just does not have the means of being able to keep poking this team down, pressuring them around those angles, and Kaneo on that Symbiotic can really put that Discord orb to good use. You can see the highlights, like Yazan was still hitting those shots at the beginning. That all changes when that first point flip comes through, and Yazan sits on a barrage for almost an entire map. That is the first time we have ever seen this far hold that open for so long.
Yeah, I think for Yazan this far in the series, he's had a hard time. This might be the most he's struggled. Is that fair to say, Moxie? In general so far in Contenders, obviously maybe to the likes of Twisted Minds, things have been different for them, but Oblivione are doing a great job shutting him out. Maybe that's why yesterday we saw a lot of Sombra to try to counter him, with Love in the lineup for all, yeah, but, for Oblivione, they seem to be doing a great job just making sure Triple Esports get no value out of the Echo, and even putting Psycho into the game to maybe just deal with Yazan in the sky actually is a solid play, because, Psycho has a very, very good Echo in his own right.
And that's the thing, right? This is something that we actually touched on before the match itself began. It's all about sticking to a composition that you come out with from spawn. For Yazan, he has to pick between whether he wants to go into the Echo or whether he's going to be sticking to that more familiar, more damage boosted Pharah, which a lot of the time Triple have found far more value with. Build up a nano, Yazan's on Pharah, send him in, he kills everyone. That's literally their go-to. When we talk to them in interviews and we say, hey, do you scrim, do you practice, or like all of these set plays there, they just go, no, we pocket Yazan. That's our entire strategy. And we're seeing what happens when a team comes along, scrims, practices, looks at those VOD reviews and goes, okay, we can take advantage of the fact that they're going to be expecting a Sombra. They weren't expecting the Echo. If they'd been thinking that an Echo was coming through from Psycho in that last map, they would 100% have started Yazan on the Echo, and the fact that they had to go back and swap was what lost them that first fight and spiraled into point percentage and ultimate in economy between the two of the teams for the entire rest of the series.
Yeah, I like how you brought it up, how they actually, or yesterday in the interview, they mentioned how, you know, they didn't even practice or scrim really all that much with this lineup until like a few days before, which, you know, at times, you know, it was like, okay, maybe like you want that mental reset. Maybe it was a good idea not to practice to make sure you can like recoup and come together. But, you know, I would say in large part, right, if we look at, you know, esports athletes compared to traditional like sports athletes and stuff, right, you would think, okay, an NFL athlete or somebody like that, you know, I understand they need rest, they need time off just because their body needs to, you know, recover from a very, very hard workout or practice because it's very physical. There's no physicality in esports, right? We're all playing computer games at the end of the day, so a lot of it is just mental fatigue and then also cohesion, right? A lot of these teams have to work together as a unit because you're playing a team game. So really, it's just a matter of how much time you can put in as a unit, and that will really lead to a lot of your success besides the mechanical skills. So, you know, obviously Triple Esports going at a bit of a different approach, I would say, to not practice and to make sure they can come through. But obviously with a team of Oblivione's caliber, you really can't take them lightly. You gotta get ready, you gotta prepare, and at the moment, Triple Esports are gonna be having to do adjustments amidst this match, considering, like you said, not a lot of practice in the books for them. Kings Row obviously going to be our next map, guys, for Oblivione against Triple Esports. Triple Esports, that's the one they choose. I think they can get a good win over Oblivione with, but it seems at the moment Oblivione kind of understand what Triple Esports are attempting to do.
Yeah, this it feels is Triple Esports' comfort pick. Kings Row always feels like this is where they find the most amount of damage. With Yazan, he went from doing something like 18,000 damage up against Twisted when they matched up against each other in the upper bracket to yesterday, where he hits above 21,800, which was absolutely insane. Every single time they go here, it really does feel like Yazan is able to overcome what should be insurmountable damage that he's already been able to set up in the past. The problem is, it's predictable, right? And this is something that Triple Esports are suffering against now that EXO is coming into the picture. EXO, we talked about it last year, in dominant run all the way through B-sides and run it back, and a large part of it was how well they were able to very quickly adapt. They were able to come up with some really good strategies, they were able to get ahead of the meta in comparison to the other teams as well. They're a very smart team, and if they know what they're playing into, they're going to actually shuffle the cards and make sure to stack the deck against you.
All right. See how it goes on Kings Row for them. You know, a lot of that, like you said, a lot of that pressure has been on Triple Esports, and you know, Oblivione really just working through progressions, making sure Yazan can't feel comfortable. And you know, you mentioned how Yazan had 21k damage yesterday. I don't even think Oblivione are really going to give him a lot of that space that he got in previous games. You know, it feels like doing a good job shutting him down. Psycho has that flexibility, and you know, it's a huge risk, right, Moxie? It's a huge risk to sub out Cookie and try to make that swap to Psycho to have him counter Yazan. And, you know, it's kind of working for them so far.
Again, it's all about that hero pool, right? We know that Cookie is an incredibly solid Sojourn, and I can 100% see him coming through if EXO are able to make it through to go up against Twisted Minds. But Psycho is able to flex onto the same heroes as Yazan. And that means that this Pharah is potentially going to just get boxed out into the sidelines entirely. And for Triple Esports, who long have relied on Yazan being the one to set these kills up, to just chunk this damage down and be that threat that keeps these teams from having the confidence, you can already see he's backing off. He almost went straight into that Widow shot.
Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with that at all. Goes into the top of the rooms with his team. in that clock tower angle. Legendary as well, trying to take an off angle on the top of the clock tower, but really they're just playing kind of in a counter dive position to deal with Psycho. He's also land onto one. Psycho do a good job pressuring out this backline. His Echo has looked amazing so far. He is also pressured on the inside. I mean, there's just so much damage that he's trying to deal with on the outside, and there's no Widow on the field. He's just pressured into angles where you would think he'd be playing like that, but nice job by Legendary to find Crispy. Immediately getting that Mercy is going to enable them to rotate towards this point. Already one healer down. Psycho has to back up. Still only has those anti-heals until Crispy's back in the fight. Pistola also takes a lot of pressure, but will regroup with this team, build up towards that Nano. Canale surely will get it first as well, but Yazan takes out Echo in the sky, but the Resurrect comes through from Crispy, so it trades it out, making this still a 5 versus 5. Nice Resurrect from him in the midst of the air, but a lot of neutral fight happening at the moment. Legendary backs up to the archway to wait for this dive that is surely going to happen for Triple Esports. Psycho gets the Nano, goes up to the top of the clock tower, but immediately drops down. They see Mo is separated from the rest of his team. Down to the health pack. Mo tries to go, but he gets tracked down by Psycho, who is building that copy as well. Another hack onto that front line to keep pressuring Yazan. No ultimates built just yet until one. Now has built the Nano. Yazan comes back into the fight with a concussion and immediately shuts down Psycho with a nice direct shot. Also tries to track down the Mercy, but quick misdirection from Crispy keeps him alive as well to keep Mo into this fight. They have the Resurrect from him. Anj also does get some healing on him too. Mo surely will get his mech just back in a moment. Oblivione trying to regroup as 5. Pistola loses the mech immediately after rotating towards that point, and a bob from the backline of Legendary shuts him out. So far, Triple looking good.
Yeah, but that's the bob gone, and you potentially want to use that to actually cover from the EMP that's coming through from Maimon. No Lucio, no Baptiste, no Zen, no sustain through the Sombra ultimate. If you had the bob, you can at least throw it onto the point to guarantee that Exo don't get free ticks, but now you just have to play separate.
Toward the point, Oblivione. They have a lot of ultimates, building that Nano as well, but 4 out of the 5 ultimates EMP. First one used by Mamone, but it's Yazan. Immediately takes down Canale, and then comes through with the barrage onto Pistola. That's a 2K. Make that a 3K for him as well. Yazan, what a performance so far on this first point of Kings Row.
We said, as far as the win condition for Triple, when he's able to get going, he is able to put teams in the absolute grind, and it's just so hard for Exo to be able to safely get from choke to the high ground where he's playing from.
Spamming out, goes to the clock tower, takes a lot of that cover, waits a moment to check for W. Maimon, who could potentially come to the high ground, maybe get a one-shot there. That Tracer would get destroyed with that extra damage from the Mercy pocket, but Oblivione are the ones with the ultimates, right? The onus is on them to go first. Triple Esports are trying to play back, maybe avoid a lot of the damage that surely will come from those ultimates. Legendary also playing back in that building towards that Bob. One will get that Nano boost soon, but Pistola's got the Nano from Canale. Feel aggressive on the front line. Psycho also with the copy. Will lose that copied mech as well as he's found Mo's mech as well as Pistola chasing down one. Maimon there on the back line of Anj. Yazan has traded back Canale, but he's already lost the entirety of his team. It's just him in this fight. The point also is going to go in the favor of Oblivione as well, as they eventually take down Yazan and capture this first point.
Yeah, good stagger pick as well. The fact that you're able to take Yazan down means that Triple Esports are not going to be able to use this choke to just pump pressure into the sides of Oblivione as they try and cross underneath that arch. And we are going to be seeing composition swaps come through now that they've been able to break point A. It's going to be the dive approach. Psycho onto that Tracer, Maimon sticking with the Sombra, trying to eat into the backline. But Triple Esports, they've already got that Nano boost, and Yazan, the second he comes back, he is going to be waiting to receive it.
Yeah, hack onto Anj there. Now falls back to the health pack in the other side of the map, but the cart moving through the streets phase already at the library as well, so it's in a decent spot for the attacking side, but an Nano boost onto Yazan. He affords them some space. No kills yet either from them either. Just the obvious onto the Baptiste and Psycho onto that Tracer now, so a bit of a difference in composition than previously ran for the streets phase. Yazan has to fall back on, gets a lot of pressure. Does he have the heals there? Doesn't even matter. He has a lot of the support from Legendary to find Psycho on that off angle. Pistola immediately dashes into the sky to find Yazan, but Anj is there with the Resurrect immediately to keep them in that 5 versus 4, as well as Bob onto the field, so that made it a 6 versus 4. Pistola also gets anti-gated on the inside, but No kill just yet for them. Oblivione have regrouped as well, getting Psycho back into the fight. He is with the team towards that hotel side, and Mo knows that, so he wants to go first. Goes really aggressive, deep into the backline to try to create some space. Diva bombs as well after dying, but Yazan is there with the trade, so Mo does go down. But you trade back for Crispy. It might be worth it, though. The EMP is in the front line. Turns out no. After the EMP from Mo, Pistola is also there to dash through everybody to get them those kills and continue on through the streets phase.
Oblivione, though, are going to be facing down the win condition for triple. Nano boosted Barrage, legendary now, off of the Ash, since he doesn't have to deal with Psycho, doesn't need traditional hit scan, onto the Tracer to try and apply this pressure onto Crispy and force the Mortality Field out early so that Yazan's Barrage can find its fixes. Keep an eye on Mo, he gets spotted out though! Was playing on Catwalk to be able to touch. Keeps the Diva mech at least, but will be able to let Triple Esports come back in.
A nano boost against Amplification Matrix surely is going to work out for Triple Esports until now. Psycho connects to the Pulse Bomb. The eventual barrage connects onto Canale with the nano boost, but only 2 meters left. So the objective needs to be contested for Triple Esports. Legendary also trying to deal with the Tracer, the 1 versus 1, but it goes down to W Maymo, and still less than 2 meters left on the checkpoint. Mo is just trying to contest the objectives for as long as he can. Maybe enable Yazan to get those kills. He's found Crispy already, but now there's a Diva Bomb to zone. Surely they can't even touch as well. The hack comes through onto him. Canale also finds Anj. Vistola connects onto Mo, and this objective will keep rolling. We're going on the 3rd phase in Kings Row.
Yeah, Canale even coming back in on the loose here, understanding that EXO, by getting those picks, by de-seating Mo's mech, they're actually able to just push back into that fight far faster without having to worry about defense matrix. And EXO now, since they've won that point, will be able to put him back onto that Baptiste to keep using this hit scan to try and have Yazan in check as legendary. Now that high ground comes back into contest, swaps back onto the Ash, start pummeling the back line as the payload crosses corners.
Both Divas just contesting this high ground, and W Mimon really has been the man to watch so far, getting crucial hacks and EMPs, poking out Yazan here. He pinged him out rather for his team. Also hacked Mo on the low ground. Yazan trying to poke for him, actually connects with the spy check, with the Sombra check on that invisibility. Takes it out, forces him to translocate back. Psycho also waiting with the pulse bomb, looking for that backline. Shirley is going to try to find Crispy or Canale in that backline, but Vistola finds Yazan, still has that pulse bomb. He's already lost the entirety of his team. One just peeling off Psycho. Psycho cannot find the pulse bomb and gets slept. What a sleep dart from One. The peel is there as well. Nobody else is alive for Oblivione. Mamon's going to have to back out. Now we have 26 seconds left.
EXO don't have that EMP either. They're going to be able to have a nano boost to try to use it. Ideally onto Vistola, just to be able to body some of the space, but Triple Esports are sitting on all of their ultimates, and they are sitting far back. They are waiting for EXO to walk into them on OT.
Walks through, touches that payload. Vistola's also here, 6 seconds left. Bob on the field in OT. That's not what you like to see. Also a nano boost at Yazan into the Baptiste Immortality Field, and the Baptiste takes him out. So Canale gets removed. Crispy also has to deal with him and falls. Yazan goes down, but the damage is already done. The Oblivione have already lost both supports. Mamone does get Yazan though. Maybe that could enable them. Mo loses mech. It's the mech back as well, and now Canale has actually come back as Lucia. Overtime takes down Pistola, goes for the touch. W Mimo gets the hack on the Legendary, who's touching that payload as well, but translocates out at 1 HP. Psycho still gets burned down, but you got both supports back. Crispy came back on the Moira. Canale falls to Legendary at the back of the map. Psycho has built up that pulse bomb. They take down Mo's mech, so this could be detrimental for Triple Esports. They've lost Mo and One. Yazan, though, has traded back Pistola onto the Mei in this fight. Anj also gets the Resurrect too, but you don't have your tank player, and nobody touches for Oblivione. Psycho tried to come back, but unfortunately, even though it seemed like they had a chance there, will get off that payload and make sure they only get 2 points out of the 3.
Yeah, Psycho was playing bouncer to try to keep an eye on Triple's regrouping forces, but OT had been ticking down for so long at the Tracer being in that forward position with pulse bombs ready to lob into the front of whoever tried to walk forward and contest. It just is not able to blink and touch in time. And that is where the payload will end. It's unfortunately for EXO a domino effect of how long it took for them to be able to pick up both A and B. The fact that Yazan was spending that samey amount of value with the Pharaoh once again, keeping an eye on those chokes, not allowing EXO to be able to freely push onto point A, really ate into the rest of the time that they had for the rest of the map.
Yazan definitely gets a lot of that space from Legendary, and then also a lot of the verticality cover that he has to work with, or the vertical cover he has to work with. 30 seconds left, Moxie, obviously, to decide what Triple Esports want to do on their attack, but I think we know exactly what they're going to play. Oblivione on the other side, on the flip side of it. Gonna run Psycho on the Tracer.
Yeah, Psycho on that Tracer. So again, they are going to try to formulate this dive. Triple Esports did show in the past that they were afraid of it. The fact that one was not on the Ana, but rather on the Brigida. But I think Triple have seen that they need that burst healing. They need this Ana, they need these anti-nades. But EXO anticipating the Ana, gonna actually have Kanale on the Kiriko. Not just for survivability and a little bit of extra damage with the kunai, but also being able to cleanse that anti-utility if Vestella doesn't manage to Matrix it.
Psycho waiting for members of Triple Esports to walk in here. WMoon also with the hack. We're ready to go into Yazan, just making his life incredibly difficult at the moment, just consistently hacking and forcing Triple Esports back towards that main side. Yazan over in that hotel will try to find some space, but Vistola is there to shut him down immediately, although he's flown back now. Yazan, knowing there's no cooldowns there, will try to walk forward. Psycho and WMoon has also taken some pressure, so they have to give up on these off angles, and Yazan takes full advantage, already poking down Crispy. What I assume is a snipe shot while Vistola gets pressured out at the bottom of the statue. Legendary also connects onto Psycho. That's 3 members now down for Oblivione. Surely there's not going to be any more members to touch this objective, as a pretty clean first take now comes through for Triple Esports.
Yeah, EXO did not want to let Yazan through because they knew the second the Pharah is out of that choke, it opens the gate for that backline to be vulnerable and punish. The fact that Neyman was using the hacks just to try and stop Yazan from crossing over at that point, that Vistola had to use those boosters, but Triple Esports saw the lack of utility and knew exactly when they would be able to twist that knife, as Yazan has already done 10,800 damage. That's insane. 60 eliminations, 6 deaths. This bar is on absolute fire, and we are seeing the ramifications for EXO when they're not running that Echo to keep him in check.
Yeah, Yazan can just have all that pressure, goes for the nano, gets hacked out of the air, but you know, do they have enough peel to deal with a nano boosted Pharah, who barrages as well into it? They have Immortality put in the corner. Oh my god, what a strange ultimate there from Yazan. Legendary though does find Psycho, and also WMoon. Oh my god, Legendary. What a performance from him so far in this playoffs. Drops the dynamite as well onto Crispy, who is now burning after all of that defensive matrix was used on Yazan's barrage. Eventually will fall towards that mega health pack, but unfortunately for them, Yazan is also there for the 2 kills to give Triple Esports this cart pressure and continue on in the streets phase.
So there's method in the madness of that barrage, because what Yazan actually does is body blocks. He body blocks the exit of Pub, and as a result, EXO, you can see it right there, that bar entirely covers the door, isn't able to actually get out safely. Maymo's not in a position to use EMP to hit it into the rest of the team, and as a result, Triple get free push through choke, and only now have to deal with EMP when they're going to be positioned around it.
Psycho with a pulse bomb to open things for Oblivione, though. Nice work from him. Really what Oblivione need at the moment, because Triple Esports have been on a bit of a snowball. Triple Esports also trying to regroup, wait for that member of their team to come back in this fight. If he's on that pressure on the left side flank or above the pump. Legendary also taking a bit of an off angle in this fight. Vistola and his team wants to go. They EMP WMoon onto Legendary. Gives them that first kill, but the Resurrect can still come through. Trying to pocket the Mercy is Mo to give that Resurrect onto Legendary to bring it back in this fight, so we still have an even one. One also is dealing with a dive at the moment, gets the sleep dart onto Psycho. Oh my god, one also gets the body shot as well as WMoon attempted to come through. That's about as much as you could do on the Ana to enable Triple keep going forward on the front line. The backline of Oblivione have not been able to deal with the dive until just about now. Vistola comes through, dives onto Yazan, but loses the mech, will now drop the Diva Bomb. Could he do enough by himself? Yes, he gets the Diva Bomb onto Legendary. Rez did try to come through, but WMoon's there with a hack. So, although one had an amazing performance on the peel, Oblivione come back off of Vistola's Diva Bomb.
Yeah, but it's calculated from Triple. They admitted it in the interview yesterday. If they feel like it's worth it, they will trade one and look at where the payload is. They've got the nano boost, they've got the barrage. EXO can't challenge this. They have to wait, they have to poke, they have to build up ultimates before they're going to be able to hold their ground.
You know who could challenge it? It's Psycho with the pulse bomb, right? This has been a difference maker. Whenever Psycho hits the pulse bombs, it feels like Oblivione have a way more likely chance to win the team fight. Knowing the pulse bomb coming in, defensive matrix is used. Pulse bomb almost misses and then forces Maimon to get him. Now the nano barrage comes through. That's one and the immortality field, but that might not be enough because Yazan actually will go down to Vistola, who is there with the peel, and you called out his Diva play earlier. Vistola has been playing amazing. Mo, meanwhile, drops a Diva bomb after he loses mech, but unfortunately also loses baby Diva form, and slowly but surely Oblivione are working through their progressions and stopping Triple Esports' push.
Oh, really good interception as well from Vistola to cut that Mercy away. Almost picks up Armed as a result. Doesn't quite manage to get the Mercy down, however, as EMP from Maimon is looking to try to catch this pairing out.
Hitting with the EMP. Behind the pub. Oh my god, Anna's shots from Canale hit all 3 of those. Pretty difficult to do in those situations. W-Man also with the EMP rotates around the pub side, waiting with the EMP is detected. They know he's here. They're just going to do a little bit of Sombra checking is the entirety of Triple Esports, but not in the area where W-Maimon is lying in wait. These 3 members of the team of Triple Esports. EMP connects into them, and also Psycho is there with Crispy on that front line. Yazan in one both fall. Legendary attempts to fall back, but has to deal with Psycho on the Tracer, who has been playing amazing. Nice little 2K for him in that fight. Also comes down onto 1. Make that a 3K to give him this fight win as well after Valkyrie was committed from Anj as well. And Oblivione are just stopping Triple Esports fight after fight after fight.
Really good ult restraint as well. They hit the EMP, they could have thrown self-destruct, the cherry over the top to be able to confirm all of those kills, but they actually hold on to it, so they'll have it in OT as we are about to hit in to the negative time bank for Triple Esports to have to find a win, and Yazan gets hacked!
He gets hacked, but has Mo there for the peel, but Psycho still with that pulse bomb above in that boiler room could easily come through with the flank and look for that pulse, but Yazan now aware of that. It might be too late for them. The off angles have already been taken, and Mo is there with the eat, though. Nice work for him to shut down Psycho's pulse bomb. That's already one win for them, one small win for them to take that ultimate out, but Crispy drops above the high ground with an amplification magic. Is super aggressive. Doesn't even have the immortality field to save himself. Vistola was trying to peel for him, but Bob does all of the work. A nano boost also comes out. Vistola drops the Diva bomb, but gets taken out as he was out of baby Diva form, but Moan is there to shut down Yazan. Vistola's Diva bomb killed Legendary as he lost his life, but Mo is still here. However, you're dealing with Psycho, W, Maimon, and the backline of Oblivione. Maimon gets anti-grenaded, but still could translocate out. Mo does lose the mech, has the Diva bomb to zone out. Legendary gets the nano boost on that payload. See what he could do with that nano. Yazan will be coming back with the barrage as well, just to zone out. Psycho goes down to 1. That maybe gives Triple Esport a bit of an advantage here. Did the retest come through from Oblivione? It does. 2.49 meters. You have that EMP. W, Maimon connects onto 1. Overtime now taking down, and Knale with the aggressive Anna anti-grenade. They also find Legendary with a shot too. W, Maimon though pressured back all the way to the health pack, which is already taken, so he cannot get healed there. Mo also found Crispy. Legendary though has a lot of the space because Mo is still alive. Finds 1, as well as looking for Knale. That's a 2K for him in this fight, and now you have nobody else here for Oblivione's side. The Streets phase hold was great, but unfortunately Triple Esports will take this objective and move on to 3rd.
What is it with Triple and being able to take Kings Row B in overtime? The good news for EXO, however, is that that is disintegrated the time bank that Triple Esports had coming in with such a fast point A push in comparison to the other side. And now they have 1 minute 14 to equalize the distance. EXO were able to find Crispy onto the Zen to use these Discord orbs, as we see Yazan, understanding there's a ceiling in play, onto the Mei, gets hacked, can't actually use those walls to separate the members of EXO, and as a result, Triple are not able to find an easy integration into the fight.
Speed is placing those discords. Yazan, by the way, on the Mei. Very interesting swap for him. Pistola with the nanoboost goes aggressive to the backline. Mamon's already found Yazan, who made that swap. Triple Esports surely going to try to reset here, but Pistola has been playing in a very aggressive Diva. Eventually going to have to back out. Triple Esports going to play slow. Wait for Yazan.
Triple not really getting that opportunity either to be able to invade and pressure this Zen in the backline, so Crispy is getting an absolute luxurious spa state at the moment of just being able to set those Discord orbs up whenever he feels like it. Good flail connects onto Vestola, but does not DC the Diva.
Bob's still available from Legendary. One of the best overtime, ultimates, I would say, in the game. Just to contest the payload or just pressure out damage, make sure people can't use certain sightlines. Tosses that bobber to the back line, but an EMP from Mamone connects onto pretty much everybody. Triple Esports. Crispy is there with the kill, but does lose his life, although Mamone has found Legendary. That's 2 for them in this fight. They do use the rally and the nano onto Mo, so they're not out of it just yet. They have a lot of sustain, but Psycho's still on that off angle, shutting or making sure one's life is absolutely absolutely miserable at the moment. Mo tries to touch that payload in an attempt to get this into that final checkpoint. They also have found Vistola earlier on, so he does not have that mech form, but it does get that mech back. Recontest. Crispy also still has that Transcendence. Triple Esports have no ultimates. They're building up towards Yazan's May ultimate. The Blizzard potentially could come out with the Transcendence and the Nano Boost double support ultimates. If this doesn't work out for Oblivione, it might be over. Vistola gets frozen. Yazan's Blizzard lands flush onto Vistola, who went aggressive. Now he's out of the mech. But also, so is the side of Triple Esports. Legendary is gone in that backline. Crispy and Psycho combined for 2. An EMP from WMamon to cancel out anything else Triple Esports could do in the last second. Oblivione stopped Triple Esports to go up 2 in the series.
And I mean, when you look at that kill feed again, look at in overtime how many of those kills had Crispy assists attached to them. That orb of Discord was working overtime. The Oblivione. Mamon absolutely popped off. Amazing EMPs, amazing hacks, but honestly, standout player for the team, Vistola. That was an Overwatch League tier Eva play coming through from him. The fact that he was able to keep control of Triple Esports frontline, because we knew that EXO were looking for that trade, looking for that kill onto one with both Psycho and Mamon away from the rest of the pack. Means that all of the peel, holding the line, making sure that EXO do not lose the support, do not lose the ground, comes down onto the shoulders of this diva.
For sure. Yeah, Vistola, phenomenal play. And, you know, the play style is also very similar for Mo, too, right, Moxie? It feels like both Mo and Vistola have very similar jobs and are both doing them to a pretty high level where they play this very aggressive diva play. And, you know, we also have to mention Oblivione were just not, they were constantly swapping, too, right, Moxie? It was just a consistent amount of composition changes, really just throwing, you know, the kitchen sink and everything at Triple Esports to make sure they did not feel comfortable. And it's been working for them. I mean, they're up 2-0 in the series now after stopping Triple Esports at the very last second.
Yeah, and they took the comfort map, right? This was Triple Esports' big push glass in case of emergency button. If you don't feel comfortable and you lose that first control map, go King's Row so that you're going to be able to even out the scoreline. But EXO showed that they were equipped for it. They knew all of the tricks that Triple Esports had in their book that they would pull out. The Nano Boost onto Yazan didn't find the same amount of value that it has in the past. They were, like we said, able to make sure that the trades onto one did not equalize Triple losing players, but still being able to pick up those points in record-breaking paces of time so that when they actually hit into C, the King's Row, which is where the composition is always going to struggle, Ceiling's always going to keep Yazan in check far more than any player, really, off of just map geography alone. They just didn't have the time bank to be able to build the ultimates until overtime hit, and everyone from EXO just gets to sit out of those ultimates away from the payload, knowing that Triple and overtime have no choice but to throw themselves into line of fire, and all of the discords coming through from that Zen.
Well, speaking of sitting, we have to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll see you guys for that map number 3. Don't go anywhere. The series looks like it's going to be close. Be right back.
Are your Dragon Blades missing the mark?
Do you want to go from a bad Genji to a pro Genji?
Looking for that next big thing to rank up and improve your gameplay?
Well, look no further than our brand new Overwatch Contenders Genji skin! With our exclusive custom-made hoodie, your Genji gameplay will automatically be taken up a notch.
And you'll look more stylish as you team wipe fight after fight.
Just look at that stitching!
To acquire your sick Genji threads,
So you can destroy in ranked and dominate all your enemies.
dude, chill.
Sorry man, I'm just getting into it.
All you have to do is connect your Battle.net account to Twitch.
After that, watching Overwatch Contenders will contribute to your drops progress.
Letting you claim each magnificent offering, including the keen blade of Overwatch Contenders Genji. Tracer has quickly become one of the most popular heroes in high-level Overwatch 2. It takes insane mechanical skill, cerebral game sense, and ice in your veins to make impact plays with her, but these players make it look easy.
Maimon and Vestola just playing off of each other perfectly.
W Maimon, by the way, found one who built that Transcendent. And a pulse bomb connects onto both Fuki and Turkey. W Maimon on this map on Havana truly has been next level.
And just as their eyes glance away, a pulse bomb connects to the back of their head. Kanail and Cookie hit the dirt. Rocket trying. Rocket could be a hero in moments like these. Rocket saved the day again! Rocket's gonna chase him out too. Oh, and he Tracer gaps him. Yeah, Rocket's that guy right now.
Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, we're now in the playoffs, and we're in the lower bracket finals between Triple Esports and Oblivione. If you're just tuning in, Oblivione are up 2 on Triple Esports so far. Moxie, it was close that previous map, Kings Row, and Triple Esports slowly have been kind of figured out by Oblivione, it feels like. But, you know, there's still a good chance on the next ones, but... you know, this is probably the worst map you'd want to see versus a team like Oblivione as a Pharah team.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, well, first of all, the map is going to be Rialto. It is going to be Triple Esports' pick, given the fact that, like you said, they are currently 0-2 down. But here's where the problems start, and unfortunately, they're just going to keep coming. Oblivione, with the flexibility of the composition that they have at the moment, can play both the Sombra and the Tracer, which we've seen be incredibly meta at the moment when attacking Rialto, being able to send those two players all the way behind up staircase onto the high ground where you like to have your support sit nice and safely away from the action of courtyard. But if push comes to shove, Psycho is also going to be able to flex onto the Echo, and he is shown to be an incredibly good Echo, and he's going to be staying in the mix. XL, however, are going to be fielding Baya into the team. We haven't really got to see a lot of Baya, but Baya comes along if the team really want to be able to play something like the Brigitte. So I'm going to be expecting to see a lot of anti-dive coming out from them.
Interesting. I wonder if that'll work out for them to play that potential Brigitte for Baya. And, you know, for the side of Oblivione, I was looking at the subs, Moxie. I was like seeing the teams, you know, make decisions, and I was like, oh, surely we might see Cookie, right, on this next map. But no, the Brigitte on a long-rangey map, I suppose that makes a lot of sense, especially since Kanail, probably one of the most flexible flex supports. I think that sounds a bit funny and a bit repetitive, but, you know, he is a really good Baptiste, Anna, Zenyatta really could play a lot of those things around by us. So Oblivione, you know, look like they have Triple Esports number at the moment, Moxie. I mean, for Triple Esports, it feels like they have those two compositions, right? They have the Echo, they have the Pharah. Izan was playing the Mei, but I mean, do they try to run those other things, or as a team, you think it's still best for Triple Esports to stick with that Pharah comp?
I mean, I feel like with Rialto, especially point A and B, with just how much skybox there is, the whole environmental kill potential as well. Lots of rivers. Of all of the heroes in Overwatch, we don't have anyone who can swim. Not even Doggy.
Not yet.
So it is pretty easy to be able to find some cheeky kills to come through. And one of the large reasons why EXO are actually going to be fielding Baya onto that Brigitte more than likely is to deal with Legendary, because Legendary has just not been able to find the space that we saw yesterday to come through and jump on these really vulnerable backlines because of just so much peel coming through, not just from the backline itself, but also from Vestola, who has been an absolute monster at keeping this D.Va mech in play.
You know, that's what they should have added from Overwatch 1 to 2 is swimming mechanics, Moxie. That's really the biggest thing we should have added, right? That would have added
a couple of floaties in the water. You know, you can potentially land on one and save yourself.
Yeah, I wonder if that would that'd probably ruin a lot of these maps, huh? You just like wouldn't die, go to the water, you could just swim under the map. It'd be so interesting. But Yazan sticking with the Pharah, has a lot of this first point cover to play around, so as long as he's here in the first, he should be, you know, relatively okay. Kanail pressuring him out already, though. No, trying to cross the bridge already, knowing the concussion mine was utilized, so doesn't have to worry about that boop off the map potential. Also have rotated far around the coastal side. Meanwhile, Vestola and his boys rotating around that payload, getting it pushed around the corner. Zon just continually pressuring him as well as the hack comes through. onto Mo, but Yazan takes down Maimon after going for that hack. Nice shot from him. W Maimon out of the game. Legendary also on his own Sombra to enable his team as well. But that's going to be a soft reset as Oblivione still want to play on this payload. I mean, they have a little bit of a flanky comp, so they can keep setting up these angles, right?
Yeah, at the moment, it's also because they just can't find this angle onto one. Yazan's doing a very good job of being very mobile and moving from the front line to the back line, swinging every single time he sees Maimon or Psycho try to make that approach up onto staircase and jump onto this Ana, who's been incredibly vulnerable on their own a lot of the time, but every single time they try it, they get found out, and again, Maimon goes down.
Yeah, Yazan shuts him down already. A dive onto one, though. Anti-grenade comes through. Also, a nano boost onto Pistola, but he gets slapped! Oh my god, what a sleep dart from one again. Eventually, Pistola will track him down, though, because of the change that happened to Ana's sleep dart, where tanks don't have as long of a sleep dart duration as other characters do. Pistola dives onto that Pharah, immediately also has a lot of the pressure onto Anj, who gets hacked, and now Psycho on the low ground is there. That's just expert coordination from Oblivione to send Psycho in the main side to chase down one. Meanwhile, an anti-grenade connects onto the front line. No recall to avoid that, as well as the mech gets lost, but Yazan is down to the back line to connect with the barrage onto Kaneo and Debea in that back line. So both supports gone. Yazan now will go forward with 1.53 meters left. Triple Esports stop Oblivione's push.
Yeah, really good game sense coming through from Yazan, knowing that EXO are going to be hiding from that self-destruct. He's actually able to use that barrage and catch on to all of those players who were looking to be able to use the payload to be able to cut line of sight and make sure that they're able to survive it. Incredibly close, however, to the checkpoint, so Triple are going to have to be very careful that they don't let Maimon or Psycho sneak through, which is why one is sitting on the payload as, EXO going to be sent right back to the respawn.
Yeah, nice EMP from them. One also slept Psycho on that cart, too. I mean, expert team play together as a unit, making sure to stop Oblivione on their push. Now 1 minute and 13 seconds left. Is looking good for Triple.
And going to have that Valkyrie, but it's the only ultimate that Triple have access to, as Yazan does not have access to his awakeness at the moment. Gorgeous sleep dart from Kaneo. Unfortunately, it's going to run out before they're able to make advantage and actually kill the Pharah.
And both Ana players are playing amazing in the moment. Obviously, nothing to come of it. Too far of a sleep dart to follow up on, but still cool nonetheless. So Rally out of the window, get that bash and stun onto Mo to make sure he's in a bit of a rough spot. EMP into the sky onto Yazan enables Kaneo to get that kill too. So the team play again from Oblivione coming through at the very end of this point. 33 seconds left and 2 meters to go. All they have to do is push Mo off the payload. Legendary comes through the flank. The Valkyrie coming down onto Mo, but not enough healing to save him from all of that damage. The Legendary has found Kaneo. Mo, Baby Diva form goes down as well. Pistola does lose the mech, so will drop that Diva Bomb as well as Yazan now with the Nano will try to be the only one to sustain on the payload, but unfortunately cannot now. 10 seconds left. Oblivione will push through.
Oblivione now as well, able to actually, because they took Yazan down so late in that fight, make it over bridge and inside the building. So the Pharah's not going to be able to poke them down as that payload approaches. Yazan's going to get a lot less room. The good news is he's already got his ultimate built up, so EXO are going to have to be very careful that they don't lose sight of where he's going to come from.
W Maimon now. Health pack. Gets rid of the translocator, knowing Legendary is in the back line, but it doesn't matter because Yazan has already found Psycho on that cart as well. Nice anti-grenade connects on Debea as well on the cart. And Legendary and Triple Esports come together for those 2 kills, though they do lose one. Anj now tries to come back. We'll still have the Resurrect available. Nano Boost used on Oblivione. They want to keep this going forward. Mo trades back Kaneo, though, after the Nano Boost was used. Now it's just Pistola and Psycho on that cart, but they're still pushing it as Triple Esports have regrouped. The Nano Boost eventually will wear down. And now 1 minute 38 seconds left. Triple Esports get that ultimate out of the time bank, or out of the ult bank for Oblivione.
It's not a full fight loss for EXO though, and as a result, they do continue to have this hold inside the building, so Yazan is not able to use the barrage, has to wait for them to walk onto the payload, but eventually with the time bank going down, they're going to have to walk into the Pharah. They'll have an EMP to be able to start things off, but they're going to have to be very careful. The Rally's going to give them that extra bit of armor, the confidence to try and challenge the space, but here comes Barrage.
Barrage ready to go. Translocate away. EMP immediately onto Yazan in the sky as well. That's been the game plan for them, and it's working. Bia already has found Anj as well. So no more heals for Yazan too, even though he's got the barrage ready to go. Oblivione are playing amazing around their composition and the ultimates that they have just off of that EMP and rally. They capture the second point.
Yeah, being able to take Anj down just means that Yazan, even once the EMP wears off, does not have the confidence to use that ultimate. And EXO, once again, can now push aggressively into the places that Triple Esports wants to retain hold of so they can use those long-distance fights to be able to let Yazan poke these squishy players down.
Sola tries to create some space, but unfortunately they have to deal with Yazan. Now a pulse from Psycho. What a pulse from him. On to one. The resurrect now comes through onto one, but Anj already loses his life to Psycho, who chased him down. Pistola also finds Yazan as he was going for that res, and the constant pressure from Oblivione has been far too much for Triple Esports.
Yeah, they slept Yazan as well when that nano boost was on him, so as a result, he doesn't get to use the barrage. Still, and an EMP from Triple Esports right at their spawn doors to try to stop EXO from keeping them stuffed up in that space, allowing Yazan to actually move forward, but he gets taken down at all.
Oh my god, Mo's also thrown out the Diva Bomb. I mean, this is panic mode for Triple Esports at the moment. They tossed everything, and it might not matter because Beyond now has that nano. Got a 2K, now a 3K onto Mo. Now the rally too, and there's no more ultimates on the field. Oblivione, even though almost getting stopped on first phase, snowballed through the rest of it and capture out on Rialto.
Triple Esports wants to take us to Rialto because of the stopping places for the payload. If it stopped on point A, you saw how hard it was to be able to push it back again with Yazan being able to control all of the space on Courtyard, but what they were relying on the most was that if it went through A and hit into B, they would have that bridge control, and it's down to EXO. The fact that even when they lose players, they don't outright lose the entire team, so they continue to be able to challenge that front line, continue to be able to hold themselves up inside that building, so that the team never has to walk across the bridge and face-to-face with concussors and the poke damage coming through from the damage boost of Yazan. It's really smart coming through from EXO, and one huge win condition that Triple Esports were relying on just gets removed off the board entirely.
Yeah, although the previous map, King's Row, might have been somewhat close, Oblivione looking good on Rialto so far. Obviously, the new Genji Contender skin that you can get via drops being flexed upon social media platform. Me, my 20s being a slick Navy man. Me, my 30s being a comfy potato. Accurate. I'd be wearing that on the right for sure if it wasn't literally 100 degrees outside.
It does look pretty cozy. Maybe he's got some built-in AC.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe he does. But he is a cyborg, right? So yeah, he's got little fans probably on the inside to keep him from overheating, so... Interesting tweet. Appreciate it. Make sure to use our hashtag. Make sure to use our hashtag.
But EXO going to be one away from being able to take the series, and if you think they're going to be able to do that, don't forget to use the hashtag OWPTP2023, because do it quick. We might, if they take this map, be seeing ourselves move into the grand final in a very fast pace that I don't think a lot of people were expecting. These fights are one-sided.
Yeah, so far Oblivione looking good at the moment. Yazan does push back. Pistola, who attempted to pressure out that airspace, as Yazan able to also just play a very aggressive angle, by the way, for the Pharah above this left side spot, but nobody can really get on them. One also with an anti-unit onto Psycho, dealing with the Tracer has been a big win condition for Triple Esports, that battle between One and Psycho, but he's able to win it this time, and Yazan still pressuring out the Brigitte as well. The top side gives them a lot of the space. Triple Esports to move forward. Also with the swap to Hanzo could work out for them. Kano drops that sleep dart. Also concussion mind to maybe force him off the map. Doesn't fully remove him from that angle. As Oblivione now try to walk back in. They do get that cart pressure to make sure it doesn't push further. Ultimates also being built on both sides. Kaneo going to be the first surely to that nano boost. At about 80%, one at 70 on his side. Yazan also trying to build towards that barrage, but a sleep dart again connects in the sky from Kaneo. Oh my god, the concussion onto Beyond, but he actually, I think, flies back inside. Pistola does lose the mech, and eventually is going to be chased down by Mo, but not after he's lost One and Legendary, so Mo has to do this all by himself now. Does have to hack. Yazan still in the fight now, drops the barrage onto Kaneo, who slept darted him earlier, so he gets his revenge. Psycho, though, has found Mo's mech and also connects onto Yazan. The payload, though, did make it on through, and they got the checkpoint. Now we'll be entering that second phase.
Yeah, EXO losing Vestola early was the worst thing to happen for this team because, yeah, Kaneo built the nano boost faster than Triple, but they didn't have the Diva mech to be able to keep themselves solid in contesting that cart when the barrage comes out. As a result, And Triple Esports already invading onto that high ground. Legendary with the hands of the ability to one-tap as well as use these Sonics. Keep an eye on where Maymon's going to be popping up. Absolutely exemplary and allowing them to have such an aggressive hold against this team.
Yazan comes over the top. He's getting pressured again by Kanale, who has been playing amazing on the Ana thus far. Getting pressured by Yazan in the fight. The Dragon Strike also here boops him back into it, and the damage actually doesn't fully kill him either. Mamone on the front line, meanwhile, with the EMP, found one. Baya also there onto Mo. Kanale eventually will find Legendary too, so expert Ana play from that back line. One also jumps off the map to reset. Nice EMP from Mamone to open that up.
Yeah, EXO don't have hit scan though, so this high ground hold isn't going to be as problematic as if it was Triple Esports. Problem is that Kanale now gets the opportunity to be able to use those Ana darts to apply pressure onto this Pharah, because, like you said, he's been the one keeping this Pharah in check most of all at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, great work from him. Pistola looking at that Pharah, though, just making sure a lot of those shots don't come through as he waits for that cooldown to come back up. Cycle on the low ground into W Maimon where the hack is, but Yazan is there for the peel onto him. Pistola also got slept, so a lot of that pressure is taken out, but eventually, even with the sleep dart, it wasn't enough to stop Pistola and the tank. EMP, or a barrage comes now through from Yazan to trade back Kanale, so it's 2 for 2 so far. Pistola trying to play on the inside towards the mini health pack now, decides to press the go key onto Yazan, but with that Mercy, he has enough healing to sustain above him. Pistola still has that Diva Bomb suit and goes aggressive as he likes, but he's already lost his teammate in Baya on the low ground. Meanwhile, loses that mech and has the Diva Bomb, and eventually Yazan was there with the follow-up rocket shot too. They still want to win this though, Oblivione. They're still trying to fight this. The Tracer had to recall though to back on out of there and wait for the team to regroup. Psycho also gets picked off by Legendary with the Storm Arrows. Mamone will be here to touch, but now they're still down one member in Psycho. Maybe they could find some kills here. They at least have the Diva to delay for a bit longer. Has the armor, has a lot of that defensive matrix. No ultimates, like you said. They try to go aggressive towards the Ana, but there's only 0.33 meters, so if they get off this payload, it's all over. Legendary able to get those Hanzo shots as well. Get that pressure. Baya goes aggressive onto that Hanzo. Actually boops him away, and because he went aggressive, eventually he'll get poked down by Legendary. Yazan has a lot of that pressure as well from the low ground. Mo gets slept dart on there as well, but Legendary, again, 2K for him so far. Finds Psycho after getting rid of the Brigitte of Oblivione. Now drops the Dragon Strike as well onto the Ana. That's that pressure onto Kanale to enable them now to steamroll on to third phase.
Yeah, a good Dragon Strike being able to split that backline actually catches Kanale on the tail end quite literally and sends him back to spawn as Triple Esports will have the Nano as well as that self-destruct to peel for the effect of the EMP. If EXO can even make it out of spawn unchecked at the moment, because Yazan now is in prime property to be able to just keep applying this pressure on the members of EXO as they try and walk into these longer line of sights where the skybox is just so much clearer for Yazan to spam these rockets through.
Yeah, there's an EMP from W Maimon. I mean, he connects onto 4 members of Triple Esports, and it's just too much to overcome at the moment. Barrage still available from Kanale, or from Yazan, waiting with it at the moment. Comes through the top of the window. No extra pressure from Oblivione, intelligently falling back, knowing Yazan was waiting with that barrage.
Yeah, they have to poke at the moment. They're also trying to build up that self-destruct as quickly as possible. Can't use it to instigate a fight, however. Who throws it in first? They don't have Matrix for the barrage that comes through, but he can't barrage without the Mercy. As the Nano decides to actually throw it in, given that damage reduction, and as a result, takes Festola down, but they're still minus Ange.
And there's a nano-boosted Brigitte running on your back line. Legendary falls, and as does Yazan. Oblivione come back. Unfortunately for Yazan, the nano-boosted barrage play does not enable them to get the team fight win, although they got a kill. Now 2 minutes left as well. Oblivione playing the ult game incredibly well at the moment.
And again, we're going to see Oblivione not just play the ult game, but play the time bank as well. It's going to have to be an opening kill from Yazan and Legendary to push them off of this hold as Psycho's building up towards that Pulse Bomb early hack from Maimon. Connect onto Legendary, making him targetable, but no one is actually able to find the pick. Triple Esports close ranks, but that just means that 2 of them go into the ante, and Psycho, with the Tracer's mobility, gets close enough to be able to punish.
Close range though, Yazan takes him down, so that is 1 kill for them. Ange though gets hacked on the low ground. Doesn't have any support either, since one's walking back from the spawn doors, and neither now does Yazan, so he's going to have to back out as well.
gonna be one good push left for Triple Esports. They have a little bit of time to be able to build towards the strike and barrage, but they're not gonna get a D.Va self-destruction. As a result, we're gonna see the comp swap Mo onto the Junker Queen to be able to push this team through, as well as have that shout when the EMP hits if you don't get caught out by it, because here comes Maymon. He's setting up. He's seen that they're going to be so vulnerable with Legendary on this. Maybe he is waiting to pick his target.
Yeah, he's waiting at the moment. Legendary also uses the ice block before the EMP comes out. It only connects onto the Junker Queen, but that might just be enough. As well as the rally is here for Oblivione to shut out Triple Esports in that push. The Valkyrie was still here, but just Anj and Yazan in this fight, and we've seen this before. They might be able to live for a little bit. But he's still going to take out that pressure from Vistola on the high ground.
If they go down, and Anj goes down too, they don't have enough time for Yazan to come back in until overtime.
Oh, they're fine, though. They're fine. Oblivione decide not to actually commit on them because it's just far too hard to kill them with their current composition up there towards the top of, that rooftop. Meanwhile, Mo tries to take some space from the high ground. They don't have speed with this Mage Junker Queen comp, but it doesn't matter because Kaneo is still cut off position. And same with Vile. They wanted to go aggressive in that fight, but they've already lost the supports now for Oblivione. Surely they're just going to die on the payload. They threw out a pulse bomb as well to attempt to try to win it, but eventually Triple Esports will win that fight in overtime.
Yeah, well, we don't need a Lucio. We have a Junker Queen. We have a shout. You get a speed boost from that. Mo gets to just swing so aggressively. They're going to have that barrage. They've got the Blizzard as well to be able to zone these players of EXO. It's going to come down to Vestola to Matrix both.
Like that was a bit of a mistake from the side of Oblivione, but maybe they come back in with that Nano. Nano onto Yazan, has that barrage ready to go. Hat came through. Onto one, but he has that Junker Queen shot to stay alive. Also, that Blizzard to zone out the payload, but Maymon finds one, even though, with Yazan in the Nano Boost, they haven't been able to find that pressure. Vistola with the remat kills Legendary. EMP also here. There's a Valkyrie to sustain. Maybe they can push it in last second, but they've already lost one. It's just a Mercy and a Junker Queen. Last alive to try to clutch it up. Just a Junker Queen tosses out the Rampage, but he cannot touch for any longer. And Oblivione stopped Triple Esports in their push to win 3-0 in the loser bracket.
Impeccable D.Va play coming through from Vistola. Doesn't catch the Blizzard, does get frozen up in it, but it's down to some significant healing as well as that Nano Boost that keeps that D.Va mech alive for so long and does not allow Yazan to find that damage with the barrage that Triple Esports will be using, looking to try to turn around that fight with and maybe pick up that point in overtime. And we said that it would really come down to two fields of view when EXO went up against Triple. It would either be the extreme of them getting 0 freed because they just weren't able to deal with the fire, or we would see a very, very, very long, interesting series between the two. Vestola, well, he was a large contributor to why EXO walked away with such a short series against such a strong team.
Yeah, exactly. Now Triple Esports, obviously, out of the tournament. Oblivione will move forward and get that rematch against Twisted Minds. I mean, great work from them in that matchup, specifically versus the Pharah. We're able to make adjustments on the fly, and at the end, it works out for him. So nice 3-0 for Oblivione. Fantastic. Somber play. Also, Baya coming in, last second on Rialto to make those adjustments too. I mean, that's got to take a lot of, effort out of him. So, I mean, great work from Oblivione to get the win, get that rematch against Twisted Minds.
I mean, it's a short series too, and that's going to be great for EXO because it means that when they come into that next match incredibly shortly afterwards, not only are they going to be uber confident, they just took down a Pharah/Echo team and they're going straight up against another Pharah/Echo team. It's not a 5-map series, so they're not going to be tired. They already get that warm-up, they already get that confidence, but it doesn't come at the cost of that exhaustion that could potentially eat into their mentality moving into the match afterwards.
Yeah, and there was a lot of close plays as well, right? There was a lot of close plays in that series. In particular, the sleep dart on the Pharah. Then the Pharah immediately concussion mines a Brigitte off the map, who then shield bashes back onto the map. So a lot of small micro play happening. But obviously, we'll have to see with one of the victors. We'll have an interview after a short break with one of the members from Oblivione, guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that. Hello, welcome back, everybody. We obviously just had a 3-0 matchup between Oblivione and Triple Esports, so we've brought you guys a guest. W. Maymon, how you doing? Congrats on the win, man. How you feeling after that one?
I'm doing really good, thank you. Really happy for the win.
Yeah.
So obviously you are one of the first teams to really be able to properly deal with Yazan on that Pharah. Is there any sort of special secret, obviously don't go into the strategies if you have to, that you felt allowed you or your team to find such a huge advantage against such a problem for so many other teams in the region?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just, before the game, when we found out we're playing against Triple, we just talked about kind of what comp we want to play, what we think is good. And we have really good players individually, like really, really good players individually. So considering we had like a good macro as well as really good individuals, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I think that's why, obviously, you know, a lot of teams will try to run a similar composition. I think yesterday, attempted to run like the Sombra as well and just kind of copy it. But in particular, like, what do you think makes your Sombra so different, I suppose, than like a lot of these other teams that really have a hard time, you know, running that Sombra to potentially counter that Echo or that or the Pharaoh?
I'm not sure really. I've just played the hero a lot. I've watched a lot of reviews of like really good Sombra players. Played the hero a lot. People aren't very happy about it in rank, you know, me playing Sombra. But yeah, I've just practiced it a lot essentially.
So in regards to sort of that Sombra play, we would see a lot of pivoting between hack targets. Sometimes you would be going after Mo, a lot of the time you would be trying to find that first hack onto Yazan. Was there a particular indication of which target you wanted to hack and why?
Yes, but we're playing against Twisted next, so it basically just depends on the fight, right? Like, it depends what ults my team has, what ults the enemy has, and then that adjusts my playstyle on what I want to hack, or how I want to play, essentially.
And speaking about that, W man, obviously you guys against them yesterday, you know, had a little bit of a rough one, but now in today, and it was still relatively close. I mean, have you guys made adjustments, or is it just like a matter of run the same game plan, maybe that you guys have a good day and just kind of play, you know, better than you did yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I think our macro was pretty strong overall yesterday. It was more individual mistakes. I didn't think I played the greatest, but going forward into the now, I'm really confident actually, if they continue to run mirror.
So then obviously Twisted Mind's currently undefeated as well. If they take a loss, it is going to be their first in the entire season. You're saying that you're confident in the team. Do you feel like you're going to be confident not just in dealing with that Pharah, but also in being able to play into that RAM? Because when we talk to the likes of KSA and Slay, they say that they have the best RAM in the region.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a good RAM team, but I think we can definitely match it. I think whatever comp they go, we're like pretty prepared. So I'm not worried, you know, like they're a good team, it'll be a really good game. But if we play well, we can win for sure.
Why do you think that RAM comp has kind of taken over? It's like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have already, like, we don't see that, I think, a lot of people on the outside, especially since the playoffs, you know, we don't see a lot of the variability that happens in practice and stuff. So why do you think maybe like a lot of the Sombra has slowly been phased out and maybe we're going back towards that like Brawl, Sojourn, Ramatra kind of play style?
I think it's like a few factors. The first being that like Sombra comps are always like hard to play in comparison to like rush comps, because you need like a lot of team synergy, and especially for teams that don't scrim as much or, you know, don't have as much synergy, Sombra can be hard. As well as the fact that, at least for like us, you know, EXO and Twisted, we both have like Twisted especially, you know, they only have KSA, so they're always going to favor like the more RAM comps. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And you know, obviously after that one with Triple Esports, is there a little bit of a is there any difficulty adjusting, you know, for a Pharah team then going to immediately into, you know, that mirror matchup, or it's really just a matter of practice coming into this and kind of making that switch on the fly? Are you guys just so experienced at this point of dealing with those swaps between the Pharah teams in the EU region?
I mean, maybe it'll take a little bit because they are very drastically different comps, but we've been playing RAM Mirror for so long now. We literally played against them yesterday, right? So I think we'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, W Maymon, obviously, any last words you want to say before that match happens? We're so excited to watch it between you guys and Twisted Minds.
No, I'm just thank you everyone, and I think this will be a really good game. So hope you watch.
Thanks, W Maymoon. Appreciate you. We'll have to see you later. Good luck in your match, man.
Thank you.
Well, that's W Maymoon from Oblivione, and obviously one of the best Sombra May players and in general Flex players, Flex DPS players in the region. Obviously, we have that grand finals matchup coming, but we have to go to a break before then. So, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Twisted Minds next Oblivione.